What's up, bikers? Episode 223 of the Biker Bar podcast. And today we have Nick from VanCan. Nick spelled N-I-C as well. So I don't know why that stands out to me right now, but it does. So, anyways, before we get started, I want to talk real quick about a couple of things. You guys know I've been talking about this EMTB fundraiser. It is a nonprofit that I'm working with. If you haven't heard of it before, it's Disconnect to Reconnect, but they basically get a bunch of vets out to do things, whether it's snowboarding or skiing or surfing or fishing or hiking. And one of the things they do is mountain biking, and we're trying to raise money to buy a fleet of e-bikes so that we can help impact veterans. So far, we've raised enough to buy one, almost two. We're working on that. So if you guys are thinking about maybe helping out, that'd be rad. You can swing by the website. It's in the description, or you can even go over to my YouTube channel and just check out some of the videos that I've done. I did this one over here called We Tricked Him. That's we gave this one guy a bike, not one of the e-bikes, but super fun video. It talks about the nonprofit, and this other one where I talk about getting struck by lightning. So if you haven't heard me talk about that before, there's your opportunity. That one's labeled I'm disabled, or at least the thumbnail is. So go ahead and check that stuff out. It's a really good thing, and it's really fun to be part of. As you guys know, I was sponsored last year by Ari, still riding their bikes though, and somehow the frame that I got last year was, or not somehow, it was painted red and white, and I just couldn't bring myself to build it with the red. I thought it was gonna grow on me or something, so I ended up painting it. And oddly enough, it was the same color that they decided to release on this year's bike. So getting ready to do a video and long-term review on the LaSalle. Long story short, I've had a lot of fun riding it. It's treated me well. So if you're considering a 171 Duro that can be mullet or 29er, definitely swing by Ari Bikes and check it out. All right. What else was I going to say? Oh, there's the picture on Instagram. That's the build I just finished the other day. Isn't that awesome? Oh my God. Those of you guys listening, it's just, you got to have a love for white bikes and then you'll understand. All right. What else I got going on here? If you want to keep the white theme going, you can disregard this pop-up for the Cali, and you can just go by caliprotectives.com. Look at the Interceptor. They have a white one out right now. So all their helmet runs are a small batch now, so that they can just constantly be changing the colors. So if you're into white helmets, this one's pretty sick. It's regular price $200. If you use code B1Cali30, you'll save 30%. So like $60. And if you really want to keep the white going, you can get a pair of their glasses. They have them in white and black. So if you want to mix it up a little bit, but keep that white and black theme going, $90, man. I honestly thought I was going to hate these sunglasses. I took them home and tried them, and I stopped wearing my Oakleys, which really blows me away. So anyways, yeah, check them out if you're interested. Like I said, B1 Cali 30 over at Tasco stoke.com, this website. They have these magnetic stem caps, which are not aluminum, so that magnets will actually stick to it. And the reason they have that is they have these Ridgeline gloves that have little baby magnets in it, so you can take your gloves off and stick them to your stem cap while you're riding, or not while you're riding, while you're taking a break. You don't lose your gloves, you're not dropping it on the ground. Honestly, a lot of times I just take one glove off and I just stick it to the other glove. So the magnets are kind of cool, but if you want to keep it the black and white, they just did this collab with Wolf Tooth, who is making that stem cap for them, and they got a black and white glove, but they also have just a regular black one as well. That's the Ridgeline X gloves. Super fun. Use code biker, save some money. Last but not least, why is all of my stuff just going slow? Last, I want to speak about SpokeX wheels. Honestly, I've been riding their stuff for a long time, and they're super bulletproof. And honestly, the thing about SpokeX that I really like is the price. And unfortunately, I'm too far away from my monitor right now to be able to see what it is. I want to say it's like $4 something for a hoop, which is pretty good for a carbon rim. But the thing that I've really enjoyed the most about these is I've just beat the living hell out of these things. And for the price compared to, let's say, something from Santa Cruz or one of these other big brands, you could get 2 sets of these with hubs for the price of like a Santa Cruz set. So think about that. Anyways, I I guess what I'm trying to say is if you're thinking about a new wheel set, swing by SpokeX, check it out. They got carbon, they got aluminum, they got a few different kinds of things, and they can build anything however you want it. So whatever hoops or whatever hubs you want, go for it. And honestly, even if you don't want their hoops, they sell the other stuff too. They're all around wheel builder. So check it out, SpokeX. The link is in the description. All right, enough of this stuff. I'm over it. Let's talk to Nick about bikes. What's up, Nick?
Hey, Robert.
How's it going, man?
Good. Yeah. I guess we're just finishing summer up here, so been riding a lot this last couple months, and yeah, that's it mostly.
How long does it go? Because you're in Vancouver, right?
Yeah. So Vancouver's pretty much the only city in Canada that doesn't really get winter. We just get like a Seattle style rain, and so you can ride all year.
Cool.
There's maybe like 2 or 3 weeks where maybe snow will stay at about sea level, but yeah, it usually clears, and on all our trails are pretty. I mean, most of them are wet weather friendly, so if you want, yeah, you can go ride even in the rain. So
what about Squamish? Yeah, the Squamish that they get snow up there.
Yeah. From Squamish is the same as here. So pretty much from Squamish, then you have Vancouver down into kind of Chilliwack and Hope, kind of smaller cities a little bit east of Vancouver. Yeah, we all get about the same weather in this little pocket here. And then once you go up to Whistler, they obviously get full on winter. And same with once you go a little more east into your kind of like Kelowna, Kamloops, the interior of British Columbia, they start to get winter again. It's not too bad until you get to about, either you go more north or you get into like Alberta, like into Edmonton, Winnipeg, like those have like actual full on very cold winter from October to March. Yeah.
Last year I went up to Bellingham, then Squamish and Whistler, and to be honest, I've been thinking about Squamish ever since I left. And I was really trying to get some people to go this year, but unfortunately I couldn't get any of my friends to commit. So, and I just couldn't get myself to pull the trigger button to go by myself. So that actually makes me feel good that I can actually go there. I thought there was a certain time of year that I'd be snowed out.
Yeah, Squamish is, it's pretty good. It's especially Alice Lake, where all like the big slabs are and stuff. It does, you can ride it in the winter. It does get slipperier. So sometimes the Squamish can be quite challenging. So
got it.
If you're riding some of the harder trails and then it's not ideal conditions, it can be it can be kind of scary sometimes.
Yeah,
because some of the slab, like the bigger double black slab moves, sometimes they'll have like roots and stuff kind of in the middle. And in the summer, it's like not a big deal because you just ride over them. But in the winter, they start to get pretty slippery. So then you really have to be on it. But you can ride, like people ride year round in Squamish, and you can pretty much go. And especially like winter, like the really winter, January, February. That's like your bad months. But like November, like October, November, that might be even ideal riding. Like, because once it rains a little bit and the dirt just gets like instead of being dry, it's like perfect.
Right.
And the shoulder seasons here are very good.
I mean, that's pretty much the case everywhere though, right?
Yeah.
The shoulder season is like the best weather because it's like not too hot, it's not too cold. Usually you're getting a little bit of rain and it's definitely pretty good up here in like our higher altitude stuff in the shoulder seasons, like really nice because that you'll get that like maybe a little storm will come in during night, and then in the daytime it's just like the dirt's really like dialed,
Where are you right now?
I'm in Sacramento, so basically I'm riding in Northern California or like the Lake Tahoe area a lot, a lot of the stuff in the Lake Tahoe-ish area in the summertime. And the thing is up there, a lot of the dirt is DG, so decomposed granite.
Mm.
And to break it down for like somebody that's not from around here, essentially sometimes you just run right into a sandbox. And like, but whenever it's wet, that stuff packs like super well. And then it changes the game a lot. It's weird. You kind of
Yes.
go through this thing. Like, I would imagine you probably have something similar up there, but I feel like every year I go through this like progression of I'm used to riding the winter whenever it's wet and traction is just amazing. And then spring comes, and then all of a sudden it seems like just one day the trails are instantly dry. And then for like 2 weeks, I'm kind of a shit show of like not being able to ride in the dry. And then by the time it's August, friends that come from other areas that have great dirt, they're like, I don't even understand how you're riding this. And they're like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it is similar here. It'll get quite dry in the summer, and it'll get loose and dusty. But it's when we get that rain, all packs down super nice. And that is one of the nice things about here compared to, say, in Ontario, where I'm from, kind of the middle of Canada. The dirt there, when it rains, it gets more. Yeah, it's kind of more like a mud, clay, like it gets slippery. And so, in those areas, when it rains or the shoulder seasons, sometimes it kind of sucks because you're like, well, I can't really ride. But no, here, you even in full on rain, like it just packs so nicely. And I'm similar.
Some spots here where I live locally that you could ride even if it's pouring and it wouldn't matter. But then there's other trail systems where it's like it just holds water too much and it's worthless. So
there are even as I mentioned, Chilliwack, just east of us. That mountain is it's different dirt, and when it gets wet, it's really slippery and really scary. And it's funny because the mountains around here, they can be so close, and yet like the composition of the dirt in the mountain can be so different. And you're like, oh yeah, this mountain runs really well in the wet, and then like that mountain over there, it's like horrendous in the wet. So close.
That's one of those things that as a mountain biker that I've definitely come to realize that I don't feel like it would be something that I would know maybe in some other sports, but it's really odd where even trail system to trail system, like it's the same thing as what you're saying, mountain to mountain. It's like one trail system, it's like, oh, this is kind of like lava rock here, and this other trail system, it's like granite, and this other one, it's more like jaggedy weird rocks. And you're like, I don't even understand how the geology can be so different in such a small area. Like geographically, it's not like they're like hours and hours apart. It's like 30 minutes over there and 45 minutes there. It's really crazy like how different the soil composition is at different places.
Even in Squamish, the two main riding areas, Diamond Head and Alice Lake, they are the kind of riding that you end up doing. The Alice Lake zone is a lot of granite and rock.
And
then in the Diamond Head zone, there's a lot more dirt. And it's funny, they're right beside each other. And it's such a different kind of riding. It's funny, like, you're doing such a different style of riding just right beside each other. And
when I rode Diamond Head, and I want to preface this by I'm not normally a person that enjoys flow as much, but like that whole Half Nelson trail just blew my mind. And like just the way that and several of the other trails there, that's just the best one that I can think of right now. Just really blew my mind and how well it just like the way I explain it to people is it's the closest you'll ever come to riding a roller coaster on your mountain bike. I mean, it's just really like incredibly fun. And then lots of like Rudy shoots and like good, like more hand built feeling, like almost like poach feeling. And then whenever you go over to Alice Lake, then it turns into like, how many weird ass rock rolls can I do? And let's throw in some skinnies in here and there too. That's gonna dump you into a marsh if you to fall off of it.
Yeah. Yeah, Alice Lake can feel like I guess yeah. There's kind of two different. I guess two different. There's probably lots of different types of trails, but in my mind, there's trails that are like the whole trail is something you experience, say like Half Nelson, and then there's trails that go from like feature to feature.
Yeah,
And Alice Lake is kind of more of like your feature to feature trail. You're
yeah,
kind of going to like a rock roll, and then the rest of the trail sometimes is just like a traverse to the next rock roll,
yeah,
as opposed to Diamond Head. They built all of Half Nelson with you kind of like the trail. The whole thing is like to be experienced rather than
yeah,
going. Yeah,
yeah.
and
We rode
yeah.
when we were in Alice Lake. We rode one that was like a black trail, starts with an M. It's kind of like a bunch of skinnies at the beginning, and then it starts into a bunch of maybe not an M. Entrails, that's what it was.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and that was like so different because it was like you start out with all these crazy ass skinnies, then you
Mm.
get into these big rock rolls all over the place. And then to be honest, the last part of the trail is just like a super fast, like fun chunk trail that we came out of the bottom. We were like ear to ear grins, like high fiving
Mhm.
and stuff. It was super fun.
Yeah, it's nice to get on those trails that have like everything. You're like,
Yeah.
it's got like rock rolls, and then yeah, it gets into like the flow section, and then yeah, it gets into like chunky section. You're like, oh, like kind of just has some of everything. Yeah, entrails is like that, especially entrails is funny too because right at the beginning, like it's kind of a janky traverse. Like right as you're kind of getting into it, and you're kind of like the first time you're going through that, you're like, oh, am I gonna like this trail? Like,
Yeah.
like this part's not that fun. And
Yeah, no,
then
that was me
yeah,
100% because I'm not really a skinny person to like that's just not my skill set. And I just remember being like, I think this might have been the wrong kind of black that we were thinking. Like, is this just going to be all like a bunch of this stuff? Because if that's the case, man, this is not what I was like. We should have took one of those other trails, you know. And but once we got to the rock roll section, then it was like, oh, okay, this is exactly what I wanted to do.
mm-hmm. Yeah, Squamish is yeah. Alice Lake. Alice Lake is kind of where we end up always riding because it's pretty unique. Like it's so much granite and such big rock rolls. It's just fun every time, and it's such a good like braking training zone because the granite is so grippy that
Mhm.
you end up riding like bigger rolls than you would have ever expected because you're like, oh, I'm gonna slide down this if I try to slow down. But
Yeah.
yeah, in Squamish, you hit the brakes harder and you slow down, and you're like, oh, that's crazy. And
Yeah, granite's funny, man. It's just so tacky. There's some rides that I've been doing recently that have some like basically like wall rides, and and as you're hitting this like wall ride, you're almost in this upright position at certain points of it, and you're just thinking, oh, there's like you're just waiting for your tires just to let go, and in your mind you're thinking it's just like your side knobs that are touching the wall, and that's it. And it's like Velcro, man. It never slips for like at least that's the way it feels, you know.
mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's yeah, it's it's hard not to like it. In Vancouver, we don't have that much granite, and so if you try to break as much on some of our rock rolls, you just you start sliding a lot.
Yeah,
And yes, again, it's funny how different the rock rolls are just in comparing Vancouver to Squamish. I mean, then again, from Squamish to Whistler, yeah, the rock rolls in Whistler are even slipperier. Like Whistler, Pemberton,
yeah,
you start to get like really slick. Whatever that kind of rock is like a very smooth rock.
hmm,
And yeah, again, it's just funny. It's right there, and it just changes so
yeah,
much.
yeah. I went back to Pennsylvania. That's where I grew up, and was there's some rock rolls there, and it's like that stuff's got moss all over it and stuff, and it's like it was terrifying. I was like, I don't know if I want to try this, you know.
Yeah, yeah, it's funny. Like it's that's what's so good about Squamish in that I feel like maybe I was more scared of rolls, but it's like such a training zone. It's kind of like having the guardrails up because you feel like it's like a practice. You're like, okay, like what if I turn the grip up all the way and let you go down this really slowly, and then you do ride those big rock rolls like really slowly, and then you're like, okay, and then when you go back, you're like, okay, I've ridden a rock roll just as big, but this one's a little slipperier, but I've done it before, and
Yeah.
yeah, that's just it's hard not to love Squamish, and yeah, usually it's a place I really like bringing people to, like especially Alice Lake, if they haven't been, because you ride. Did you guys get a chance to go to like In and Out Burger?
We were trying to make our way over there from entrails, but we had spent so much time on entrails that
No.
our
Yeah.
friends were swimming in one of the lakes
Hmm.
waiting for us, and we were like, man, we need to make it back. That just like took us a lot longer than we were expecting.
Well, you got something to come back for then, because just
Yeah, definitely.
that rock roll is so big. Like it's just a massive rock roll, and it it's steeper in person than on camera. But I would say the videos of people doing it are more accurately portrayed the feeling of doing it, in that it's not that hard because you can break so much, and
Hmm.
it's just a crazy experience to like ride down this massive rock, and yeah, it's you bring people there, and I remember what it was like being there for the first time, and it's like it's fun to see it.
Yeah.
You bring someone there for the first time, and they're like,
There's a
"Whoa,
there's
this
a
is
couple
crazy."
there's a couple of places that I've ridden around here that are a little more like off the map, and you're just in like a granite valley, and it's literally granite as far as you can see. And by the end of the day, the way that you feel about your trust in your brakes and how you're braking is just like you feel like there's nothing that you can't ride on, like. So I think that's one of the beautiful things about British Columbia. When I was there, it seemed like all the trail systems really had that progression built in the trail system. So like where you're talking about Alice Lake, earlier in the day we were riding with people that weren't as like in tune with doing all the rock rolls. So we were on some of the blue stuff, and for them, those were like huge rock rolls for them. And for us, like me and my buddy that ended up doing the other one, it was like just warming us up, where it's like, okay, yeah, I know how the rock works here. I know how the builders go or whatever. And so it's just really nice, like have trail systems that really have that progression built in it. And that was one of the things I noticed about, when I was up there. I could get on a trail that was pretty easy, and then I could get on a trail that was medium, and like just keep stepping it up. And it makes sense to me why everybody that lives up there is just such a phenomenal rider, is because you just really have that like opportunity for growth there. And I feel like down here, and I'm going to overgeneralize this, I'm sure I'll piss some people off, but it seems like we have like XC trails, and then every once in a while there's like something that's more than that, and those are like sprinkled in. And a lot of times it'll be like, oh, this trail's labeled as black, and it's not black from top to bottom. There's like a couple of black features, and then it's blue otherwise. You know what I mean? So it's like up there, whenever you get on a trail, it says black, it's going to be black, you know. Oh, I feel like Nick might have just like froze. He's stuck in time, not moving. I'm going to go ahead and just talk about that for a minute. So, anyways, like down here, it's definitely sometimes where that's the case. So, like one of the trails that comes to mind when I'm explaining what I just said a second ago is Toads up in South Lake Tahoe. Oh, he's back.
Yeah, my internet every now and then it just like shuts off,
Oh, it's all right.
and we're back.
I've been doing this long enough that I figured out that you weren't like just poker facing me forever.
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
about did you drop out?
What were we just talking about? I got distracted even by my internet.
I was talking
We're
about how like trails around here,
Oh yeah,
a lot of
the
them are
progression.
XC. Yeah, and then they kind of
The
turn in from XC to like maybe they'll say it's a black trail, but it's really just a couple of black features and not just fully a black trail. And that was one of the things that up there, it's like the features stay blue all the way through the trail. And if it's a black trail, it's going to be like that's what you're in for the whole way through it, you know.
Yeah, I think especially Squamish is good for having, like a huge range of trails because so many professionals live there too. And so you've got, the trail crew and the trail organization, doing a good job making, really good green trails, blue flow, like working on the black trails, and then the double black stuff. And then, you have so many professionals there pushing the sport that, they grew up through that system, and they're now at a point too where they're looking for harder and harder features. And Squamish seems to have been good about, even pushing the limits of, trails for them and features.
Yeah.
And so, you could pretty much find a feature for whatever, skill level you're at right now. Like, go to Squamish and there'll be something where you're like, okay, this is this is maybe at the top end of my limits. You can kind of find, something that just scares you enough, pretty much no matter what, even like from beginner all the way up to like full on pro. It's it's a cool place.
Where you grew up, you said you grew up in Ontario. Is mountain biking as embedded over there as it is in BC, or?
No, not at all. It's much flatter. And so mountain biking, I'd say when I was growing up, like early high school, there were more people who mountain bikes, but it was a lot of like kind of cross country. Maybe even earlier than that, like when I was in like late elementary school, there was like a free ride crew in there that would build like stunts and stuff. Kind of around that peak, like free riding North Shore, early 2000s time. And that kind of slowed down as I got into riding. But at that time, like high school, I was riding BMX. And we had like a little BMX crew in my hometown. And then Winnipeg had a pretty solid like BMX scene. So generally, like more BMX, like dirt jumping, skate park stuff in that area. I mean, it's flatter, so it's just like there's not really mountains to mountain bike on. And like Winnipeg and kind of has a bit of a mountain bike scene from what I understand. But again, I think it's just harder because like it's prairie, so it's flat. It's hard to like,
parts of the US that are like that, they tend to build a lot of features. So it'll be like stacked up rocks or logs or things like that to kind of make it a little bit more exciting, even though they don't have as much elevation gain and loss on their own. But it's interesting. Different parts, I'm sure, I mean, Canada is similar, like different parts of the country, definitely different types of riding.
Yeah, it's coming along too, I think, again, in kind of that middle part of Canada. I think mountain biking is picking up there. And there's some places kind of in between Kenora and Winnipeg that have some cool riding. And it's similar. It's kind of like you said, like there's not a ton of elevation, so they kind of work on features and things like that. And I haven't been home with my bike and like kind of checked out all the scene in quite a while. But from what I hear every now and then, it does seem to be picking up. And
so that was a lot of your background was more like doing like dirt jumps and BMX kind of stuff. Yeah,
I didn't start mountain biking until I moved to Vancouver in the end of 2017, and I bought a mountain bike. I mean, really, just because we were coming to Vancouver, and my friend at the shop who mountain biked was like, "Well, like you should obviously try mountain biking. Like it's the best place to ride." I was like, "That's a good point." And so, like I bought my own bike and just started riding, and I was like, "Oh, this is actually pretty sick." And there's actually, there's a pretty good BMX scene in Vancouver, but it's pretty small. And as I started mountain biking, I was really liking kind of this new kind of riding, and I met more people who mountain bike, and then kind of your whole friend group is mountain biking, and it kind of like
Yeah.
Just keeps going and going. And so, yeah, that just kept riding more and more mountain bikes and kind of transitioned away from BMX being my main way that I ride to mountain biking. And
Yeah. I had a party the other day, and it was like 90% of the people that were at the party were all rode bikes. It was like only a few of my friends didn't ride bikes. And at a certain point, I remember thinking to myself, like, I kind of feel bad for them because we keep talking about riding. And it's like, what are they going to talk? You know what I mean?
yeah, I mean, here in Vancouver, I'm trying to think if any of my, I think all my friends are just ride because I moved here from a different city, so that's the
Yeah.
main way that I've met people. Trying to think. I mean, I know people who don't ride, and I know
Yeah.
they exist. But
Yeah.
in
I
terms of
mean,
like
I think some
people,
of mine are like work friends, that
yeah,
aren't, into that or whatever. And it's just interesting as I was like sitting there listening to the conversations that we were having. It was like even the conversations that I wasn't in. It's like, oh, well, there's two of my other friends over there that maybe don't know each other very well, but they're also talking about riding. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think one of my friends made this really good point when we were talking one day where he's like, once you start riding bikes, you have to keep riding bikes to stay good and also like in that like bike shape. So
mm-hmm.
it's not like something that you can be doing intermittently where I cannot ski for 2 years and I can get on my skis, and I'm definitely not like the skill set that I would be if I had a season pass and I was going every day, but I can go up there and have a bomber day all day long. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not like I'm like, I just can't hang. And if I was to not ride my mountain bike for 2 months, I wouldn't even be able to make it through a quarter of some of the rides that we do.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I was thinking about that even because of the way the ski hills work, and about how Whistler will have a lot of people who come like once a year, like for Christmas. And it's like, oh, it's kind of crazy that like there's groups of people and families who ski like once a year. They just like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, oh yeah, we're going to Whistler for Christmas, and like, or just rent skis and go. And I was like,
Yeah.
trying to imagine, it's like, yeah, you can't really do that with mountain biking. Like, it's just too high consequence. Like, no one kind of just shows up with their family and goes like, yeah, we're just here for like a day. And,
Right. We'll give it a shot.
yeah, I was try it out. Yeah, there
Yeah.
is a bigger, what do you call it? Not a barrier to entry, but yes, the learning curve and even the like maintaining curve, I guess. Yeah, is
Yeah.
a bit harder. It's
Yeah.
hard to do casually. Even the fitness, if you're pedaling a lot, like it's pretty big. It's a big difference. Like pedaling, that much pedaling to the average person, yeah, it's quite a bit. It's like
It's
it's
just
a big,
totally different muscle groups. So it's,
yeah.
I could have a friend that could go out and run 10 miles every other day and does
Mhm.
CrossFit and try to go on a mountain bike ride with us. And we could go on one of our basic climbs, and that's like takes 40 minutes to do, and they'd be dying, and
Mhm.
by the time we get to the downhill, they're like, dude, I don't even want to do this anymore, and that's a person that's really fit. And I think it's just because of those, like, the way that you're using the muscle groups in cycling,
Mhm.
it's not the same as necessarily what you could do at the gym. And I'm saying, not saying that those people like can't hang at all. You know what I mean? They're
Mhm.
definitely doing way better than somebody that just got off the couch or something. But I think that was the point that my friend was making. So like once you start riding, you start surrounding yourself with other people that are doing, because they all want to have the same goal, is like stay
Mhm.
here or get better, right? So every weekend you're like, hey, I don't want to miss this weekend because then I'm gonna start falling out of shape or something, and so you just slowly only can like surround yourself with other people that ride, because every weekend you're just trying to like keep working on that fitness, or you know things like
Yeah,
right
yeah.
now where it's like, the snow melts, you can only ride these areas in a certain amount of time. So in the summertime, you're like bam, 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 trying to like hit all these trail systems so that you can get these rides in before it snows again. And I think because of those reasons, that's why you end up becoming this just like friend group of bikers.
Yeah, it's definitely a feedback loop of like, oh, like, I like doing this, and oh, if I work out a little more, oh, I'll be a little better at it, and like, oh, it'll be easier. And then like you start buying like, you buy a Garmin or something, because you're like, oh, I gotta
Yeah.
have a Garmin to like record my rides, and oh, look at my like VO2 max now. I care about that all of a sudden, you know. And yeah, there's definitely a feedback loop, and it's fun too. Like, um, you know, uh, there's some things like people might be dismissive of, like, oh, it's a fad, or like, maybe a gimmick for some of these things. But it's also fun to participate in those kind of stuff anyway. Like, even if you kind of know, you're like, oh, it's kind of gimmicky or whatever. But like, when all your friends are doing it, it's still just like a fun. It's worth it to get
Yeah.
into. Just whatever fun vibe thing you're doing, and you're like, yeah, we're all
Yeah.
doing it. It's like, yeah, and
I definitely
you're
felt
just
that way about rollerblades. Like it didn't really
yeah.
feel like rollerblades were going to take over the world, but we sure had a lot of fun doing it for a while.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
um, it kind of made me think while you were talking, though, where you said it's not a fad, and um, I think you're right, man. I think that mountain biking, the way that it's grown and the way that communities have embraced it as a sport, I think it's something that's like skiing in that sense, where it's going to be one of those ones that just doesn't go away.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. Every city that seems to embrace mountain biking, and more are now, like every time they do it, they're like, oh, turns out like that was a great idea to like invest. And I'll look at all this tourism now. And it's funny, they do fight it along the way. Like there's always legacy people who, like, even on my local mountain, if you look at any of the listings, anything about the university up there, like anything around the mountain, they always advertise like, oh, look, there's trails you can hike on in the wilderness. Like it's all set up already. And that was all built by mountain bikers illegally 30 odd years ago. And to this day, they're still fighting the mountain bikers, going like, yeah, we don't want, like, there's definitely people who would prefer to ban mountain biking on this
Yeah.
mountain. And yet that's the thing that's being advertised by everyone all the time about how good it is, and it's the thing everyone loves, and it's why the trails are there in the first place.
Yeah.
And it's just funny, like, but it's changing. I would say also the ski hills. We just got a new bike park here in Vancouver, so we only have one mountain bike park right now called Grouse, and it just opened this summer. And I think more ski hills are also going to start opening up mountain bike in the summer, because, yeah, first of all, the revenue, uh, you're only going to get it a couple months a year from skiing, and now they can do basically year round.
Right.
And winters here, they are getting shorter. So especially like in Vancouver, like I said, you have to go up in elevation to get to the snow, and even midwinter. And now the winters are getting, we're getting less good ski days, it seems like, more and more. And so I think a lot of them are looking to like, okay, well, let's open up in the summer. And yeah, so now we're going to have, I think, more bike parks opening up. And as more people kind of grow up through it as well, more people get into council and may become
Yeah.
mayors who ride, and they kind of get it more and more. And they're like, oh, people, especially mountain biking compared to a lot of other extreme sports, has a lot of like, I guess, white collar workers, and like, or even not even white collar workers, but people who, professionals in whatever, like whether they're, you know, full time electricians or whatever, like they're good at what they do. They're trained to be engineers or nurses or doctors. Like, uh, they will base their decision about where they go to work on, like, if there's good trails there. That could be like, okay,
Yeah.
do I live in Vancouver? Do I live somewhere else? And it's like, well, Vancouver has really cool trails, so I'm going to go, you know, be a doctor there instead of going somewhere
Right.
else. And yeah, mountain biking has a lot of that, and so it seems like a good investment, just in my opinion. Kind of biased,
I
but
think there's probably a lot of mountain bikers that may or may not agree with what I'm about to say, but I think because of e-bikes, it's even solidifying it as a sport even more, because then you are actually making it into something that somebody can do a little bit more casually.
Yeah.
and not have like, and still have like a good experience. So I know personally, I've gone from telling like somebody that says they want to get into mountain biking, but like kind of for fun. Like I used to tell them like, you know, hey, spend this much money on this analog bike and blah, blah, blah. And now I'm like, hey, if you think you're going to ride like once a month, buy an e-bike and you'll have nothing but fun that day. And if
Mhm.
that's what you want it for, like that's what you're gonna like. You'll get a workout. It's not the same. It's not.
Mhm.
Don't if you're not looking at it for that, and a lot of people aren't necessarily looking at it. Bless you, for like some kind of like weight loss regime or something. It's
Mhm.
like something that they want to go out and do something fun in nature. And I think in that aspect, the e-bikes, it's definitely like it allows that person to go out and have a really good time for 3 hour ride instead of like just sucking it up some hill and like having 10 or 15 minutes of downhill and then that's their day, you know.
Mhm. Yeah, no, I totally agree. I have an e-bike, and I really like it. And even I ride a lot, and I feel like my fitness is pretty good. Like, if someone right now was like, "Let's go do let's see, do the math, like a 3,000 foot plus loop or whatever," I'd be like, "Yeah, that's fine." I mean, it's still challenging, and I feel like
Yeah,
again, the fact that it's challenging though, like I ride a lot, and I'll do Zwift and stuff in the winter, and like work on my cardio, and even doing all that, like it's still not that. It's not like I'm just zipping around climbing up the mountain. It's still like hard work, and yeah, sometimes I want to get out and ride, and I just get on the e-bike, and like the barrier to entry is lower,
yeah,
and sometimes that's the difference between riding at all. Like sometimes like I'm just too tired to do like to climb. Like my friends are going to ride an area that has just like a steep, sustained road
yeah,
climb for an hour and a half, and I'm like, I just rode yesterday, but I could ride the e-bike with them, and that
yeah,
way, like, so now I'm getting out. Whereas otherwise, I just would be like, yeah, I'm just too tired to commit to like
yeah,
that big of a
yeah.
ride, and
I've definitely had that experience where it's like, yeah, we did 4,000 feet the day before on analog, and today my legs are blasted. And then my other friends are like, hey, we're going to do ride e-bike today. And it's like, okay. And then you go out and you can do another 4,000 feet in some stupid steep area and be fine, like
mhm.
totally fine, even when your legs are just blown up. So it's like, I totally agree with you in that aspect as well. Um,
I think I think one other thing too that's probably good is mountain biking. It's harder to kind of do the skills part of it, I guess, a lot and like over and over in terms of, let's take like BMX. When I'm at the skate park, I'll be at the bowl, I might have a trick in mind, and I'm just doing it like over and over and over again, right there, like right then and there. And I can do like the same thing for like an hour. And that whole hour is like focused in on that skill. Whereas with mountain biking, a lot of your ride, like time wise, a lot of the ride, an hour ride could be like 40 minutes of climbing. And so
yeah,
really you're only like downhilling for about 20 minutes. And then of that 20 minutes, like, maybe you need to work on your drops a little more, but really there's only like two or three drops on that trail. And so you're kind of just you're not getting that much skill training. But with the e-bike, I feel like you can really shorten that climb window and I've gone and rerode the same trail like a couple times and be like, oh, okay, like let me try this line instead. Whereas on my other bike, like uh, I would just be like, I'll try it once and then I don't want to
yeah.
like climb back up and do it again. Yeah, even
Yeah, and
though,
it even changes
yeah,
some trails where you have like a slight incline where it would be enough that you were climbing, but like on the e-bike, you have that extra those extra watts that turn it into now I'm like popping off this rock and like almost riding it like it's a downhill, but
mhm.
I'm climbing, and that like changes the game as well.
Yeah, no, it definitely, yeah, because then you can also ride maybe flatter trails little less consequence, but you can kind of practice riding them faster. And
Yeah.
and yeah, e-bikes. I think there's. I mean, I don't know what's like down south, but here they're pretty widely accepted. Like in person, I rarely hear anyone complain about e-bikes. The only time I ever see it is like the pink bike comment section.
Yeah.
And yeah, in general, I think people just love riding here, and it's so popular that they're kind of like, yeah, I don't know, it's fine. And same with
I
there's so many
definitely agree
shuttle
with.
zones. Yeah,
I
like
agree
I
with
say,
you
just
though.
yeah.
I think that there's more e-bike hate online than there is in person, and I think a lot of that comes down to the fact that a lot of people are just bitches, and it's just really easy to be a keyboard freaking commando and talk all kinds of shit to somebody, but when you're standing in front of them, they're not going to do that. And maybe the way I laid that out isn't quite like the most nice way to say it, but I feel like that's the case in a lot of circumstances where, like, I mean, you just as well as I do. I mean, we do YouTube. There's all kinds of stupid comments that people write, and I always think to myself, what is the likelihood that that person would say that to me if they were standing in front of me? And almost never do I think to myself, yeah, that guy would just walk right up to me and say it. Like, I just don't buy
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, yeah, no, it is like that. Yeah, I think people just like to complain, and especially online. Yeah, it's tricky because there is times you want to be like nitpicky or criticism. Like it's okay to get it out there. Maybe a good example is like when people joke about how like, oh, pineapple should go on pizza or something, and that's like that meme, and you're like, okay, haha, kind of a joke. And then you meet that one person who's like actually very serious about it all of a sudden. You're like, no, this
Yeah.
was an online joke. You're totally allowed to not like Hawaiian pizza, but I don't think it's supposed to be like really serious. And it just is, it's kind of like that of like, yeah, some people just get maybe a little too wrapped up in like the, the hate
Yeah.
comments, and they like gets them too riled up. And it's like, oh no, we're
Yeah.
just,
I
it's
feel
not
like it's
that.
probably just like a manifestation of like other things that are freaking irritating them, and they're like, "This is the thing that's in front of me that I can like let go on." So that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
People are funny.
It,
RC, do you know RC from Outdoor Gold? He used to do a channel a while back.
yeah, we haven't met, but I do know him.
Yeah, he popped in earlier and he said, I don't know if he's still on the comments anymore, but he said, "Good to see you at 100K," and it reminded me of when I was writing the show notes. The last time you were on, you had 53,000 subscribers, and at this point, you're up over 100,000. What was that journey like? Was it what you expected?
Uh, I don't know what I expected. When I first started, I definitely didn't expect anything. Um, I always just made videos for fun, especially coming from BMX. Like everyone just makes edits, and they're not really. I mean, depending on why we're doing them, sometimes like those edits for sponsors and stuff. But in general, like they're not really to get like a huge amount of views. Like you might do one a year. Like it really is just almost like to show your friends
Mhm.
or like just for yourself. And so that's kind of how it started. And then yeah, when it kind of got popular, I was like, oh, this is crazy. Like that people are actually watching. And then it kind of ebbs and flows. So when you're in kind of like a boom, you're like, oh, like I'm gonna hit 100K in like a year, and then you're like, okay, wait, I just had one popular video. It's hard to do that over and over again, and yeah, it kind of flip flops like that. And then once things got kind of popular, like once I did start to get into like the like 10-20,000 subscriber range, yeah, I just wanted to cross 100K as like a goal of like getting the plaque is cool, of like it's it's hard to do, it's cool to have something physical and be like,
Yeah.
and maybe kind of YouTube recognizes it as like, okay, this is something you did. And and yeah, so it took, like I said, once it started kind of like going when I was around that 50,000 sub range, I think it was growing faster, and then uh, and then it kind of slowed down a bit, and then picked up again, and so it was kind of hard to predict exactly, when that was going to happen or and whatnot. But yeah, no, it's been. I would have never predicted, I guess, any of this from the start. That's for sure.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. My understanding is you have a day job that you really enjoy doing, and YouTube is something that you enjoy doing, but it's not necessarily what you want to do as a career. Is that correct?
Yeah. So yes, like my day job is I have a PhD candidate. Hopefully, it should be done pretty soon here. And so I do that full time. And yeah, throughout this whole time, I've also you work as a teaching assistant and things like that. But yeah, the last little while, just strictly research for me. But yeah, I do that full time. And yeah, I think moving forward, yeah, I've never really thought about trying to do YouTube full time. I think that kind of takes something I like doing and would maybe make it into something I enjoy less. Because right now I'll make the videos that I want to make, and I don't really need to care like how well they do. And I think Seth has kind of mentioned something like this where he said that it was about bike videos. Like, oh, why doesn't he do like riding content anymore? He's like, well, it just doesn't like do well enough for me to do it rather than like crazy products or something. And I think that would be trickier for me. Like, okay, well, what part of this do I enjoy doing? And now, if I want to move into kind of making adjacent style content, am I just doing a job now? Like, I may as well just get a job. And on the flip side of that, the work that I do as an engineer, I do like that, and it's a bit more traditional and maybe a bit easier to get into like a decent salary and like a decent job and schedule and things like that. And I also like doing that. And so on that side of things, I know I can, get a good job doing something I like, and it's a bit more traditional and stable at the same time. And yeah, so I mean, long story short, yeah, it's not. I like doing lots of things, and I also like things to change. And yeah, that's why I've never really tried to commit to like a full time YouTube or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, you actually like started answering the next question I was going to ask anyway. So I'm very similar in the aspect that I have a job that pays well, and I don't need YouTube to pay my bills by any means. I do need the monetary part of YouTube to make enough money for it to make sense for me to keep doing this, like at a certain level. You know what I mean? I think that if I was ever like, I don't think there would be a time where I actually quit. It would just be like the range of videos would slow down, because if I wasn't making videos all the time, I wouldn't be getting the hookups on like parts and stuff like that. And I sure as shit wouldn't be getting a new bike like every year. You know what I mean? So like, especially with the way that they cost, and so it definitely needs to like have a certain amount of income, I guess, coming in it that way. But at the other end of it, I think I've always struggled for a long time because it's really easy to like start thinking about, oh, is that what I'm supposed to do? Because you're watching some of your peers do that. And there's not many of us that are in a situation where like you and I are, where it's like, hey, I have a good salary and a good job, and it's something that I enjoy doing. But this is fun too. And I think the thing that always brings me back home is kind of like what you were talking about, which is every time I have all these commitments from the channel, I really don't like the channel then. And it's like, I like the channel whenever I can just make whatever video that I want to make, and it doesn't matter. And if it is 3 weeks until I make another video, then screw it. It's 3 weeks when I make another video. And I feel like that's the part that's the best for me. Like, at least where I'm at with it, it's like make enough content to be able to, you know, get some of the perks of being in the bike industry, but not necessarily to make it where it's like, I'm quitting my job and building a sprinter and I don't know what else you do. And you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I feel the same. It's kind of like if I won the lottery, I just had like tons of money, I would have a lot of bikes like I do now. Like that's the one kind of, you know, signal you would see is like, oh, tons of different bikes. And by doing this YouTube thing and working with some of the brands that I do, it's allowed me to kind of like slice out that thing that I would do if I was like super rich.
right.
And yeah, because there's not really another scenario where I have this many bikes. And I really like having lots of bikes. And I feel super lucky
Yeah.
to kind of have, kind of like took, like I said, this something that I would only do if I was like really, really wealthy. And I've kind of been able to get that one part of it and like bring it over to I definitely could not afford, I would have one bike, like, and that would be it. And so, yeah, it's been really good. I mean, yeah, I feel lucky to work with the brands that I do. To be able to be like, okay, well, here's like a mutually beneficial thing we can do. Like, I really like your bikes. It's what I would ride. And like, here we can, you know, film videos riding, and it all just, it's nice that it all works out. Like there's so much overlap between what I want to do and, you know, what.
Have they always reached out to you, or have you had to do work to get to them at times?
I guess both. I'm trying to think. I've had the same brands that I work with for a long time now. Like Noli and Noble have been 5 or 6 years now. I emailed, I knew Noli kind of just because they're right beside me. And so we kind of like started working together just almost out of proximity of like, it's just so close. And then Noble had emailed them originally way back when. And yes, a bit of both. And it's been good, especially to have just like really long-term relationships, and like things are, you know, it's hard to build. Relationships are hard. That's so much of like any, even outside of like YouTube biking industry deals or whatever you might want to talk or might want to think about is so much of it is just like who you know and how people feel about you rather than like the metrics. Because if kids are talking about sponsorship or whatever it might be, I mean, the best thing you can do is, you know, be good at whatever it is you're trying to do, whether it's content or racing or whatever. And then also at the same time, like be seen and like get to know the managers and whatnot and let them know like, okay, because there's people who shred or are good at what they do, but at the end of the day, the marketing guy or girl needs to know who you are and like you and think you're a decent person. And yeah, kind of got slightly off track there, but some general advice about networking. But I mean, it's the same for jobs in general. I've experienced this quite a few times where I've helped people get jobs, and it's been like a lot of times just the same. We'll get a lot of applicants for a job that are all like, I mean, they're all pretty good. They all kind of have the same requirements, and someone will just ask me like, oh, I saw your friend applied. Like, are they a good guy? And I'm like, yeah, I know. I like him. It's like, all right, he's hired. And that was it. It's just
I hear you there. I mean, I think what the general theme there is that in life networking means more than maybe skill set.
I guess like story in general, like personality. I mean, if you look at people who are really popular, like even if they're really good, like take Yoan, I don't think people like he's obviously extremely good rider, but he's such a personality, like so fun to be around, and it's that like that combination that makes him special. And it would be funny to look at that and be like, oh, I need to just get really good at biking. Like that's how I'll get to be the next Johan. Like,
right.
whereas it's the story of Johan. Like it's people get to know him as a person, and then it kind of get involved. I mean, kind of like anything, even everyone likes like an underdog story too. Like if it's regular sports, like you might have a player or a team you like that's not very good, but you know them, and you're like, I know that guy, and
for
it's
sure.
more important. Yeah.
When you were at 50,000 and you were thinking about 100,000, like, was it just that getting to that plaque and that accomplishment of that, or was it like, oh, I think this will be easier or that'll be easier, like maybe like if I want to reach out to a brand, it'll be so much easier to get something? Do you feel like those things came to fruition in the way that you thought, or do you feel like it's still the same grind, that number's just different?
Yeah, probably the latter. I think for me it almost felt like a similar feeling to like when I got my degree, like when you're doing your it's kind of like that milestone of like something to shoot for. Yeah, in terms of reaching out to brands and stuff, I guess yeah, I guess it does help, but yeah, I guess I didn't think about it too much. Ryan from the Lone Ranger has always been a good example of his very first video, he talks about how it was with Coast Gravity Park or someone kind of in that area, and he's like I think he said he just like pitched them. He's like, yeah, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. Like I've never made a video like a mountain bike video like this before, but like, will you sponsor it? And yeah, he got them to agree. He had 0 subscribers, like 0 metrics to show them, but it was him and his like his personality and and whatever else he.
I mean, he at least had the credentials of his photography.
Well, that that too.
Skill set to kind of like have a bit of a resume that you would. They were definitely gambling on him, but that's a good point. Not
to say that everyone should just out of the gate email people. You should. Your best move is to always build up. Reputation helps a lot. And if you've shown that you can get things done, whether it's winning races or making good videos, that helps a lot to kind of predict where you're going.
I was thinking about it in terms of like, even in my channel, like my growth has been really slow, but realistically, when I was at, let's just say 100 subscribers, and how I thought things would be easier at 20,000 subscribers, let's just say, I didn't actually, like, I thought more so that number meant something, but what I didn't really realize was by the time I got to 20,000, I would be so much better at making videos, and that's why it would be easier for me to talk to brands or whatever. So it's like, back then, for me to make a video that, let's just say if it got 100 views, I would be like, this is crazy. Like if I had 100 subscribers and I got 100 views, I was like, this is just great. And where now it's like pretty typical for like my videos to be in the like 10,000 plus views, and not necessarily like, some of them are bangers and some of them aren't, but generally speaking, like for a guy that's got 20,000 subscribers, I feel like that's pretty decent, you know?
Yeah, your intuition builds up a lot for sure about what people are interested in, and how to edit the video and things like that.
Yeah.
That definitely gets a lot easier. It's hard for me to remember exactly. But I do remember that feeling when I was first starting of really not fully understanding like how important maybe like a thumbnail was, and like
Yeah.
what made a good thumbnail. It seems obvious now, and like when you point it out and you like the light bulb goes off. But when you're first starting out, you're kind of like you're like, oh, this will be good, and you're like, God, this was bad. You
Yeah.
just it's hard to. It's so like yeah, there's just so much
In my
intuition
mind, it
involved.
was always
Yeah,
just like, if it's a cool picture, that'll do
yeah.
it. And it's really not it. It's not it at all. And it kind of reminds me of the other day when I was talking to some friends, and oh, you should make a video like this, and
Mm,
I'm sure you have this situation a lot,
mm,
and what they told me would be really fun for them to watch. But
mm,
as I was thinking about it, I was like, I'm not sure how I could do that would be like fun for the world to
mm,
watch,
mm,
and granted, like us as a friend group, like if I didn't give a shit about my YouTube channel at all, like yeah, we could make that video and we would have it, but it would just be us,
mm,
and it wouldn't necessarily be like, you have to think of things in ways that, how is this going to be entertaining to like more people than just your like friends, and
yeah.
I think whenever like I first started YouTube, um, you could just make trail videos and like all your local people would watch them. And then somehow people from other places would watch them because there wasn't a lot of trail videos, right?
Mm-hmm,
But now it's like, if I want to film something on my local trail, I need to figure out a story that doesn't have anything to do with that trail, you know?
mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's spot on. Yeah, it's evolved. YouTube in general has evolved and then kind of along with us. And yeah, I feel like that's one thing that's transferred out of kind of like being a YouTuber into like life in general is maybe thinking about like how are people understanding, what I'm putting out there in general, and thinking about that like more and more and being explicit about it. I guess for me, I'm thinking about when I'm trying to teach students in the lab and things like that. I want to say, along with also practicing, you know, teaching them and doing it over and over, kind of the YouTube side, that kind of that muscle of thinking like, okay, how are they seeing this? Like, what about the thumbnail is gonna, catch their eye, or like that story? And then from the other side, almost the same thing for when I'm teaching a student. Like I'm showing them a diagram or whatever. I need to think of like, how are they seeing it? Like, what's it like to be them, to see it in
Yeah.
almost the same kind of like it's like the same kind of thought of like what's catching their eye about this, and like what's interesting about it. And yeah, it's hard to articulate exactly what that kind of like that feeling or that intuition is, but yeah, I feel like it's kind of all worked in parallel. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
it's
even just
expertise. That's what that is. That's why it's hard to explain. It's like you can't explain experience. And it's definitely like that experience that helps you make a good story, that helps you edit something in a way. Like, I remember there was a point whenever I was first starting where I just thought I needed to get my like edit down to like X amount of time. So I would just like cut here and cut here and cut here and cut here, just to like, oh, that's boring, cut. And just like, but then it didn't have a good flow to the story, and I just didn't understand. I remember like I would look at maybe some other videos and I'm like, I feel like this is the same video as they made. Why does theirs have like 100,000 views and mine has 500? And I think that's that experience though, is that there's times where I'm finishing something and I'm leaving it linger on purpose, you know, and then it's like slowly bringing in the next thing. where I would have never done that. Like even 3 years ago, like I definitely have like, I feel like in the last year, I've learned how to like, this is the best way I can explain it, like more emotionally edit to like carry like emotion where, and it could be the way that I'm telling my stories now too. Like I've definitely changed a lot from then. Like what I'm doing now is like, it's just like, it's so different. I remember for the longest time, I never wanted to use a voiceover because I wanted everything to like feel live, you know? And then whenever I finally used voiceover, I was like, man, this is like, there's so much that maybe I forgot to say on the trail that I want to say, and now I can. And then it's like, oh, well, lay some music on top of it. No, it even feels different, you know? And it's like, you just learn that, but then you learn that, like, okay, that doesn't mean you have to have music from the beginning of your video all the way to the end. You know, it's like you drop it in here and there, and then it like actually adds to whatever you're doing and isn't just like background noise, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. A story, that was something, yeah, the importance of story is something I tried to give a slight talk to the kids about once, of just like, no matter what it is, yeah, being a good storyteller is a funny skill I feel like no one really talks about, but it's so applicable just in general of just telling, like getting things, maybe getting things you want is the weird way to put it, but like, you just, there's so many things you do where you're really telling a story. And even, I give you two examples from my work again. In the thesis, when people write a PhD thesis, really, there always needs to be like this storyline throughout of like, you know, you looked at this data and like all the papers, and here was this problem, and you identified the problem, and then like here's what other people did in the history, and then that's got to flow into like the first chapter of work where you simulated something, and that flows into the next thing, and then your third chapter, and then you got to do a conclusion. Like there should be a story, even though this is about engineering and work. There
It's like an
still
art.
needs to be, yeah, it should read like a book almost. There should be, you know, beginning, middle, end, and some conclusion about the, you know, what you were battling. And a funny, more explicit, like YouTube-y thing that I did once was there was a competition they do called the 3-minute thesis, where you explain your thesis in 3 minutes, and everyone does that, and they see who did the best job. And everyone titled their talks really, what would you call it? Really like descriptive of what they're doing. They'll be like, oh, like, you know, how this X5 gene expresses in so and so to create like, you know, this happening. And
Right.
I called mine mind reading with laser beams, like as a more clickbait like title. You know what, I could have called it like, you know, optical detection of magnetic fields or something. I was like, no, I'm going to
Right.
call it something more poetic. And I was the only one who did that. And that was the one thing like all the judges called out was like, it's like, oh yeah, you know, in these kinds of things, like you guys shouldn't be so like use so much jargon and whatnot. You need to tell like the story for this kind of competition. And it was funny
So
because that was
YouTube's helped
really
you look
like,
professional.
yeah, it was literally what I thought when I was doing this. I was like, what's the most clickbait like title for my project I can think of? And yeah, it was just straight out of like the YouTube handbook of like, clickbait again. It's a funny thing. I think it changed a lot. I kind of use it
Some people
jokingly.
really like to throw that word around
I'm
in
being
a
pretty
completely derogatory way, you know?
yeah, being a little loose with it. Clickbait to me, like if we're being you know, more serious about it, is when, you know, it used to be like, oh, there was a girl in a bikini in the thumbnail, and it's a video about something completely like it literally was a trick, as
Right.
opposed to coming up with the most interesting, again, like more poetic version of whatever the
Yeah.
video is actually about. Because of course, I've talked to people like every now and then, if there is a comment that's like ever brings that up. It hasn't happened in a long time, but um, like I'd be like, well, I could have called this like, ride 17 on August 30th, like at 7
Right.
p.m. and been like super descriptive, but like no one, it, even I'm not interested in that. So yeah, you
Yeah.
call it like, sliding around with my friends and something like that. And so you're not, that gets called clickbait now, like anything, like
Anything that
any
somebody
effort.
just feels like, yeah, they just like
Yeah.
I have my Whistler video that's doing really well, and I think somewhere on the title says something like I went to Whistler and I was disappointed or something like
Mm.
that. And generally speaking, the story is that I'm just not a park guy,
Yep.
and but people are all, I can't tell you how many comments are on there like clickbait, this guy just and it's just like
Yeah.
whatever, dude. Like, honestly, I agree with you. Like, if it's a dead serious conversation, it's like putting something on there that's not what's inside of there. It's
Mm.
like Trump just assassinated Putin, and then you click on the video and it's like, bye. Like that's clickbait. But realistically, what we're talking about is using something intriguing to get somebody to click the video to start watching it, and then from that point, in my mind, like that's your pickup line. So you have to have
Mm-hmm.
a good pickup line, and if you don't, they're not going to click. Then it's pointless. And if they do click, you still have to have a good video for them to keep watching.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody that does YouTube knows there's like a retention thing that shows you like how quickly people leave your video from the beginning. And the better that you do it, the better that you're doing. And like that to me is the goal. It's like, how can I get them to because a lot of times my videos, like you were saying earlier, like thumbnail took you a long time to get, and I feel like I'm still scratching the surface on that one. And a lot of times my videos, once people start wide really high, because the storytelling's decent, but it's that getting them in there first, and so yeah.
Yeah.
And
Well, you got to be whimsical about it. And Veritasium has a really good video about it. And basically, it's so effective, and you kind of have to do it. And I mean, yeah. But the conclusion is kind of it is what it is, and you're right. Like as long as you're not, I mean, you don't want to trick people. You really want to stay away from that. And YouTube is good at figuring out if you've done something like that because they look at the retention. Like if people are clicking and then moving away really fast, um, they're like, okay, something weird's going on here.
yeah,
But for the most part, you're looking at like, what is interesting about this video, like what's going to bring people in to kind of get them through the door, and then once they start watching, they make a decision. And if you end up tricking people too, it ends up backfiring. So um, it just does worse. So at the end
yeah.
of the day, yeah, you end up staying away from stuff like that anyway.
So I wanted to ask you, in a while ago, you had some sort of injury that kept you off
Mm.
the bike. What happened?
Yeah, so it's such a weird injury because I think I've had it for a long time, but just acted up, you know, really badly. And so a year and a bit ago, so last April-ish, my back started hurting quite a bit on the one side, and it just like got progressively worse and worse. Oop, did I lose you there? Go back.
I'm still
It
here.
got yeah, it got worse and worse, and like my legs started hurting, and yeah, it was getting hard to just even like if I was sitting in like a chair and then I get up, yeah, it hurt quite a bit into my leg until like it was hard just to like stand and walk a lot. Got an MRI and all that kind of stuff, and I have a herniated disc at the L5S1, kind of pushing against a nerve back there. And yeah, I guess it was just really irritating it quite a bit and making it hard to walk and stand. So even if I tried to, if I was standing for a bit, just the muscles were all pulling against kind of that nerve that was squished now and causing a lot of pain. And yeah, I don't think there's anything like that caused it per se. Like I didn't have a big fall or anything. It just I woke up one day and it like kind of hurt, and then it just got worse and worse for about 6 weeks. And yeah, from what I can tell, I had a lot of time to like read through why this happens and the outcomes and things like that. And from what I can tell, like a lot of it, uh, how bad it's going to be, like a lot of it's just luck. Like a lot of people have herniated discs and bulging discs and have they don't even know. And on the flip side, someone could just have a bulging disc, so not even a herniated one, but one that's just kind of bulging out, and they could have quite a bit of pain. And
Yeah,
so,
the whole
yeah,
spinal cord anywhere injury or issue is just like so
it's a
completely
mess.
debilitating. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
I tweaked my neck last year, and it was like a month of just even like moving my head to look up at something more than level was
Hmm.
like extremely painful, you know, and it wasn't it really made me understand. This is a weird thing to say. It really made me understand how people get like addicted to like the the oxycodone or whatever, you know. Like I wasn't taking anything like that, but I remember thinking like, man, this pain is like it had me in a place where I was willing to almost try anything. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And I could imagine that my case was obviously not so strong that like I I didn't need to be on some medication, you know what I mean? But I was just like philosophizing in my head, like if this was worse, you know, which obviously people have, like I could understand where it's like, yeah, I'll take anything to make this stop, you know?
Hmm.
And
Yeah, no, that you definitely when you're in pain, yeah, or you can't do anything, or you're like your mobility has been really restricted. It's weird. It's super weird. You get grumpy, and you get into like a weird headspace. I find myself like that was definitely the I probably the yeah definitely the worst thing that's ever happened to me because it's such a long injury. Like I couldn't
yeah.
really walk for like 3 months, um, and I just had to lay down, just like on the floor. It
Hmm.
You get into like kind of this weird headspace of what's it called when you're kind of like outside yourself, like
Yeah.
your mind just like leaves, and so you're in like yeah, it's such a strange feeling. And yeah, no, it's bad.
I always think about, you know, cycling is kind of like therapy for me. It's like kind of how I like get my wiggles out or think about things or, you know, get my head straight. And anytime that I've been injured that I can't do that, I I definitely like spiral
Hmm.
like mentally probably more than I do physically from the issue because I don't have that like ability to because I'm not like I'm a person that goes out and does shit all the time. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I'm not much of a sit around kind of person, you know? So it's like I feel like some people maybe they get an injury and they're like, "Oh, you just have to sit at home and watch TV." And they're like, "Sweet, that's what I'm doing anyway." You know, like for me it's like, "Oh, I can't do everything that I do in my life right now." You know,
Hmm.
and then it just it makes me feel like I'm not doing anything with my life and then I just like start feeling like what's my worth, you know, and all that, you know. So it's definitely like it's tough. So you had months of this, so obviously you're not riding. Um, clearly you're not making videos at that point. You know, what was it like whenever you got to a point where you were starting to be able to like get back?
Hmm. Yeah, so it took the worst part about this injury was so confusing because I kind of just got like from April to June, I just kind of got worse and then kind of plateaued. and then felt the same like June, July, August. I kind of just felt the same amount of badness. Like I wasn't really getting better. And so that's one of the worst parts of it is just like when you broke a bone, you kind of like know, like, okay, in 6 weeks I'll feel decent. And like it kind of is always trending better. But yeah, this one was weird where it was like, am I ever going to get better? Like that was an actual thought of like, sometimes people just don't get better. And so, yeah, it wasn't until like September where I just kind of really started walking more and more and like trying to go on longer and longer walks. And that helped a lot. And then again, it's, September through December. Yeah, part of the worst part of it was like always thinking like, okay, like now that I'm getting, starting to feel a little better, like surely next month, like I'll feel good enough to get on the bike. And it took like, again, quite a while. And it was so slow. Yeah, sorry.
Then once you get to a point where you feel like, yeah, I can get on the bike. I know that there's a certain level of you're super scared that you're going to do something that's going to make you go back to like April again,
Yeah.
And
No,
how did you like mitigate that whenever you were like starting to ride again?
I definitely rode like really gently for a long time. And I definitely tested the waters really slowly, like definitely over months. Like between my first time, like kind of getting on a trail to like riding a little more aggressively, yeah, it was definitely months of like, okay, how did that feel? How did it feel to ride for like half an hour? How did it feel to ride for 45 minutes? How did it feel to like put my foot down? I was always being pretty cautious to see how that felt. Around, I want to say, I think it was in the new year, so probably like January. Our coach, a strength coach from Squamish, had reached out, Alex Ackerley, and he started training me because he worked doing injury recovery, and now he's a mountain bike strength coach. So like a good, the perfect combination.
What was the second part you there? I didn't hear it. You kind of cut out.
He worked in injury recovery, and then now he's a mountain bike strength coach. So he's like a perfect combination of of trainer. So he started training me in January. We still train, and that helped a lot too because when you're in the gym, it's a much more controlled environment, and so you can see, like, oh, can I deadlift 10 pounds, 20 pounds? What's that feel like? And then you kind of mimic the bike, right? Like, okay, I know I can lift in the gym reasonably heavy now. I know I can pull on the handlebars, and you kind of go back and forth, like, what feels.
So it was almost a year then that you were off the bike.
Yeah, I would say a year because I didn't even. I would say I felt pretty good on the bike by about the end of July. So it was a year and a bit before like I felt pretty normal riding. Even now, it's still a bit weird. Not like 100%, just like getting there. And so it's not totally over yet, but no, it's been a very long, annoying injury. And
yeah, no, that stuff takes time. Like honestly, like from when my neck was super messed up till the time that I could start riding my bike again, till now. I mean, even now, I would say there's not really any mobility that I have issues with that, but I can definitely feel it at the end of a ride, kind of where it's like, it doesn't feel stoked, and there's like, I'm still like doing some PT exercises and stretch stuff like that on the regular where it's like, okay, well, I guess this is like my new life. But I would say that, before, let's just say like 4 months ago, I wouldn't forget to do that any day of the week, and now it's like where I'm at. Like sometimes I'm in the gym, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot to do those yesterday or today, or, and cause it's, the pain isn't there. Right? The flexibility and the mobility and stuff like that is like there on its own, and whenever that happens, then you kind of forget about it. But it's definitely injuries are weird, man. So how long did it take to like decide, okay, well now I'm riding again, I want to make YouTube videos again? Like where did that come back into play?
I mean, I always knew like I just wanted to return to normal. So basically, as soon as I could, like as soon as
Yeah.
I felt like, okay, I can kind of ride again and carry the camera and do things again. And yeah,
So
I was ready. Yeah.
what drove that then? So I mean, because realistically, you didn't do your channel for a year, and you're like, you're very separated from it. So at that point, it would be real easy to be like, I don't know if I want to do that anymore. But like, was it just because like, hey, that's what I was doing before, I want to be able to do what I was doing before? Or was it like, I miss this creative outlet or something like that?
Yeah, I would say it's just that is what I like to do. And yeah, I knew I wanted to kind of get back. Yeah, wouldn't call it work exactly, but yeah, like get back to making things and doing my channel. Because yeah, I really the channel. I could just stop doing it, today, and it wouldn't really change much. Like I don't need to make YouTube videos to survive or anything. So
Mhm.
um, yeah, it just kind of just like getting out riding, um, or it's just kind of part of like what I like to do right now, and I wanted to even when I was hurt, I was like, oh yeah, it'll be nice when I go out and film again. And there's a part of me that just likes filming stuff, even not even YouTube videos, but say Instagram clips. Like I like filming stuff just for Instagram clips. It's not for anyone or a brand, or Instagram
Yeah.
isn't monetized in any way. Like there's no like external benefit really besides the sharing part. And there's part of me that just likes. There's the fun part of riding and like doing a hard feature, and then there's also like a secondary effect I get from like filming it and being like, I know that'll be a cool clip. And so it's like
Yeah.
I get to almost like double dip in terms of like what I like, getting out of riding.
Yeah.
It's like, and it helps too, as just that extra little like encouraging me to like go that extra mile, or whatever it might be of see there's a feature I want to do, and I'm like, oh, it's a good day for it. Like, and I can always just kind of go like, oh, I'll just do it next time, or oh, whatever. Yeah, but
Yeah.
sometimes you got the camera and you're like, okay, but it would be pretty cool to have a clip of me doing this. And so
Yeah.
you're like, all right, kind of convince yourself, that way. And even it was the same with BMX of like, I'd be trying a trick for so long. Like I've tried to do tricks like hundreds of times in a day and just been like, oh, this is awful. But like sometimes you have your camera and you're like, but think of how cool it'll be when I land it and I have it on film. And
Yeah.
so you kind of you'll do it 10 more times until you get it. Like okay, I'll do it. I'll try it 10 more times, and then you know. So it's kind of like that. It's just it's a bit, again, it's a bit hard to articulate because it's not like explicitly fun all the time, but yeah, it's that outlet. It's like it's kind of a nebulous, complicated thing of like pushing you
Yeah.
forward. Yeah.
Did you notice the channel, did it take time for it to ramp back up, or did it feel like as soon as you posted another video that it was performing just like the way it was
Hmm.
before?
I mean, I think things for mountain bike YouTube, maybe even YouTube in general, have slowed down a little bit, um, especially in sort of the trail POV kind of stuff that I do. And so it has slowed down, but I don't necessarily think it's because of taking such a long break.
Hmm.
Um, and so, yeah, no, I think YouTube seems to be pretty good about that. Like once you put out another video, as soon as that seems to have gotten some interest, it's like, okay, he's back, and there's another video. Because there's YouTubers who put out like one video a year that does super well, and generally seems okay.
I feel like as much as people like to complain about the algorithm, I feel like the algorithm's smart, and usually if a video is not doing well, it's because it's either not a good video or like your pickup line isn't good. Your thumbnail's not good. So like realistically, like if you have a really good video, it'll get out there. It seems like even if it's a creator that doesn't have any following, if they just drop something that's like, it's really good content, it'll get seen.
Yeah. No, I've seen, I've seen new channels put out like a really good video, and it gets a lot of traction. I do think the YouTube's figured it out where they really prioritize, good content over, legacy. Whether you have a ton of subscribers or whatever it might be. I think at the end of the day, they are just looking for the best videos, and having a lot of subscribers can kind of help you, like just give you a little bit of a nudge to get going. But at the end of the day, you still got to make a good video.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, people that don't do YouTube, there's actually metrics on there now that show you like, hey, your normal subscribers aren't watching this as much, or they are watching it more. People that aren't subscribed are actually watching this more. So it's definitely looking at things in a way where I don't necessarily think it did before. Or if it did, it just wasn't as good at like parsing that data or whatever.
I was wondering that, but
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I have noticed that as well. Like it lets me know like what proportion of my subscribers are engaging. Like that's the first metric you kind of get, it's hard to tell exactly how that all works in together, but they do let you know.
I used to always I remember when I was starting that I would always kind of judge my video get as many views as my subscriber count, and as I would get it just seems like as you get more subscribers, that percentage or that ratio changes, like it's really easy to get 100% of views versus subscribers when you have 100 subscribers, right? But then as you get more, then it starts to separate a little bit more, and that hey, if this video hit that number of your subscriber count, okay, then that means this video is going to do well, because obviously all of those views aren't necessarily your subscribers, but it's just it's a good benchmark for me in my mind to be like, oh, if that hit where my current subscriber count is quickly, all right, this is going to do well,
No, that's a good way to think about it. The engagement, the percentage of people that are engaging is a good way to think about it.
I personally don't look at the analytics very much at all, honestly. I know there's other, I guess, what do we call our fellow YouTubers, not coworkers, but other people that are in our space. There's some of them that are some of the guys really, really enjoy the analytics, and for me, I feel like if I look at the analytics too much, I just start getting depressed. So for the most part, I'll look at some of the stuff whenever I first launch just to key in whether or not I have a good thumbnail or title or something like that. And then after the fact, I kind of don't pay attention to it unless it's one of the ones that's just a banger and it's really fun to just drop in every day or two just to see holy shit. If you do a reel, reels are the ones that to me really get me excited, because it's if you do one that's oh my god, dude, it's at 100,000, it's then you a day later you're dude, it's at 200,000 views, and then it's a week later you're oh my god, this one's hitting 1 million, holy shit, I can't, it's really fun to watch that. But otherwise, as far as drilling into analytics for maybe trying to help me make a better decision on how I make my video, I don't really like it doesn't do much for me because I feel like I'm not going to edit differently because of that.
Mm.
You know, I'm just gonna be like, well, that one sucks. You know.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. I don't think about it too much. I think it's a combination of, again, YouTube not being like I don't want to take it super seriously. I'll just go like, okay, like let me try and do as good of a job as I can. You know, that's still
Yeah.
fun, and it kind of is what it is at that point. And I also think, yeah, for me, getting into the analytics would be getting into the weeds of things where if I felt like, oh, I wanted a video to do better, I think there's a lot of other low hanging fruit that I could do, that I could go after, just like being a better editor, like really thinking about the
Yeah.
ideas and like going through what's trending in terms of topics or things like that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
My
Yeah.
workflow is shit. I don't
Yeah.
know about you. Like, I don't have a script or like generally I have like an idea and I film that. But when I'm making my edit, I'm literally making it up like sentence by sentence as I go.
Yeah. No, but yeah, I'm pretty similar. I yeah, have it's been a while since I've scripted out a video ahead of time. Because yeah, that's generally just not what I do, and yeah, it's a lot of work. And so what I do it is more for like, oh, I've got the idea has to be good in something that, again, that I want to do, and
Hmm.
and yeah, I'm always trying to strike that balance between like, okay, I could go kind of crazy and like write scripts and find topics that are maybe more interesting, but less fun to film, and then we kind of get you know, it starts to feel more like work. And again, we're kind of,
Yeah.
why am I doing this kind of thing? Whereas really
Right.
my goal is to just like maximize the riding and the amount of bikes I can ride, and
Yeah.
I feel like I've yeah I've been lucky to kind of have that happen where yeah, pretty much ride as much as I can, and I couldn't fit any more bikes in my little closet right now. So, yeah, no,
Yeah. You got
it's
any
good.
other hobbies that you enjoy that people wouldn't guess? Like for instance, I mean, I got a
Hmm.
3D printer and I got like a laser that I'm cutting shit with and a
Hmm.
vine cutter. I'm like making t-shirts and stuff. Like I feel like just like for me, it's all just creativity things.
Hmm.
But I think, definitely when people watch my channel, they assume the only thing I do is ride bikes. You know?
Yeah, yeah. I say right now, kind of just busy, like between riding and work. Um, yeah, I kind of let my other hobbies go. Used to game sometimes, like I would play like Battlefield and things like that on the PC,
Mhm.
or like Overwatch. But I haven't played in a while. Just part of it, yeah, part of it is just in our little condo. Like it was hard to have my gaming computer set up, so I just like never set it up, and then kind of got busy, and so I just was like,
I feel like
okay,
first person shooters are just like or just like cycling. Like if you
yeah,
stop for a little bit, your game is like I used to game a lot back in the day
yeah,
and like competitively and stuff. And dude, if I get into like a Counter-Strike room right now, I would just get owned. And I would
yeah,
be so irritated that like that I just got like put down so quickly. It'd be like, I don't know. It's just funny like how quick those like motor skills disappear when you're not gaming all the time.
yeah. No, there's so many, yeah, so many just like little tricks depending on the game as well, of like, this character counters that character, or this weapon is good in this like
Yeah.
map, and like you, yeah, if you stop playing, like there's new maps and new weapons and things like that, and you're just not aware of it, and you just, yeah, you get on, and you're like, oh, I'm just being killed like every 10 seconds here,
Yeah.
and but yeah, no, I like gaming. Just haven't done it in a while, and Yeah, I
Say
mean,
that one more time.
I,
Your internet's been slightly cutting
oh,
out here and there. You said you
yeah.
like something?
Oh, I was just gonna say I like gaming, and then but yeah, I do like I work. I do a lot of science stuff, but I would also say it's kind of my hobby um, at the same time too. And but yeah, that's kind of it. I think riding
You,
right now.
what are you working on? You got any kind of like exciting project that you're doing at work?
Uh, Not right now because I've been writing. Like I'm pretty much done my project, and I've just been writing about it, and it's all sent off to be read and waiting
Yeah,
for it to come back to me. So yeah, a lot of what I do these days is just like bureaucracy and dealing with that kind of stuff
yeah.
right now. So it's a lot of writing and just boring stuff. Um, and so yeah, I'm kind of in a little. I'm in the home stretch of finishing, but then
Yeah.
yeah, so not a lot of interesting stuff going on. But
Little fun.
oh
I got a little
yeah,
fun project that I've been doing at work lately. It has nothing to do with my job, but it's highly amusing to me. So a couple of months ago, I decided, like you go to get lunch and people are like just to give you a shitload of napkins like in your bag, right?
hmm,
So one day I was like, I'm just gonna start keeping all these extra napkins, and for some amount of time. I didn't know what the amount of time was. And I just want to see how many napkins I end up with. So I have this like pile of napkins that I think in my mind right now, I'm just going to shoot for a year. But the way that the study goes is like it's not napkins that you grab yourself. It's only when the restaurant gives you the napkins.
hmm,
You use as many napkins as you would. Don't
hmm,
try to be stingy or anything, and then find out how many napkins you end up with at the end of the year. And at this
hmm,
point, it's kind of crazy how many napkins I have already, and I've only been doing it for like 3 months. And and on top of that, it's not like I go out to eat every day at lunch
hmm,
either. And sometimes places aren't even places that give you napkins. So that's
hmm,
been my fun little project. I even have a little spreadsheet that says like where I
hmm.
went, so that I can look at it. For some reason, I guess I like data too.
Who's giving out the most napkins? Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
So
No, it's yeah. I would say yeah. No, it's hard to find another hobby right now because biking has been taking up so much time. I guess like
yeah,
YouTube riding
YouTube,
work, and then
yeah, YouTube's a big one.
yeah, we have two dogs, and yeah, I just feel again a part of it too is that I'm also doing a lot of physical therapy, which is just
Yeah,
working out at the same time. So I think I'm just tired.
yeah.
Like
I don't feel like
yeah,
I don't feel like you're doing anything wrong, Nick. I mean, honestly,
yeah,
I tell people all the time when they ask me to go try something new, it's like I just can't, and they're like, "Why?" I just don't have time to do anything else. And
yeah,
realistically, between YouTube, cycling, and work, there's not much time left for like even me to like do stuff with my wife. You know what I mean? So uh the idea of like throwing in some other stuff in there is like it's definitely few and far between. I guess the reason I was thinking about it more is because I know winter's coming, and when it rains, I get like I find things to like do more inside, you know?
yeah. Yeah, last like 2 winters ago, we had an indoor skate park that we would go to. So I drive my BMX more in the winter,
Oh, nice.
and I think this winter again. So they shut down, but I think they're going to reopen again in one city over. And so I think that'll be our our winter hobby will just be a different form of biking.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, in high school, I played badminton a lot, um, and so we used to play badminton competitively, and I wouldn't mind doing it again.
Right on.
Um, but same with ping pong actually. But uh,
Ping pong's fun. I used to play ping pong a
yeah,
lot when I was in the military.
badminton's a funny one. In yeah, even at the clubs, there's a lot of people who are really good, and it's yeah, it's another one where I find I really have to play pretty often to stay on the ball,
Yeah.
and And
I
you go
can
to
get
club
into
night.
that.
You go to club night, even if you're going like once a week, and you're just like getting crushed, and you're like, oh. And then
Yeah.
that's the same kind of thing as riding, where you're like, okay, now I gotta start training my badminton. and
Yeah.
then
Yeah, I used to play
yeah,
tennis here and there, and that's definitely one that like I could see an alternate reality where tennis was my favorite sport instead of biking or like it's just like certain things that like that one's pretty fun. So yeah,
I
it's
like
interesting.
racket sports are always pretty fun. Um, yeah,
What's
like
the new one that everybody's playing now? Not badminton, but it's
um,
like a smaller court, sort of
pickleball.
like yeah, yeah. That one
Yeah,
seems to be like there's places that used to be tennis like clubs that are now just pickleball joints. Now it seems like that's the latest fact.
yeah. It's funny how much like the city is investing a lot in pickleball stuff right now, and even converting some indoor spaces into pickleball courts, which is surprising how fast they've like moved on this, considering how slow they are to do anything else.
Yeah,
And I'm nothing wrong with pickleball. I am skeptical about how many people like the retention of the sport
yeah.
for them to have so many big spaces. Um, and yeah, it's
I don't
interesting.
even
We'll
really
see.
know what it is. Isn't it
Yeah,
just like 10 smaller?
yeah, it's basically tennis but smaller, and like with a hard little paddle, and
Yeah.
just a little slower. So it's just like easier tennis, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, like I get why people like it, and it does seem fun, and but yeah, it's just funny to see. It's like, oh, they're converting this old mall space into like pickleball courts for the winter, and I'm like, oh, like that happened so fast. Like, why couldn't
Right.
the skate park have ever gone in there? Like,
Right.
like something, you know, something
Yeah.
where people have been riding bikes and doing that kind of stuff for decades here, and that never got done. But pickleball's been popular for a year, and now we're converting old balls into pickleball courts. And it's like, okay, so we
Yeah.
could do it.
When I was younger, my I used to go to a like a sports club every once in a while, and they had racquetball courts in there.
Mm,
And the thing that I liked playing the most then though is I think I might be remembering the name wrong, but I think we called it volleyball. But it
mm,
was like they put like a volleyball net in the racquetball court, and then you could play volleyball, but you were like allowed to bounce it off the walls.
so
So it was
yeah.
like it was pretty fun that way because it was like you could direct the ball into the wall and then onto the ground.
Mm.
So I don't know, it was super fun. I always liked volleyball a lot too. I used to play that a lot when I was younger. But
Yeah, I think I always like sports where you were like the engaged pretty often. Like I had a harder time
mhm.
having as much fun with like basketball or soccer and things like that, because there's one ball and there's 15 people, and
Yeah,
you're so rarely like doing the sport part,
yeah,
that yeah, when I got into like riding and even badminton, like you're doing the thing so often. So there's probably just something about my mind that like
yeah,
needs to be frequently engaged.
yeah. When I
But
was playing volleyball a lot, it was like on to like beach volleyball, and I think I'm very similar to you in that aspect. I need things to be moving quickly and like
mm,
keep me highly engaged. Otherwise, like let's just say baseball, for example, I'd end up like
mm,
daydreaming and freaking not even paying attention to what's going on. It's just
mm,
like it's just not high speed enough for me, but such is
mm.
life. Right?
Yeah. No, I get it. Like yeah, for the most part I get it why people like those sports. But yeah, I always had a hard time. Yeah, when I wasn't doing the thing, like kind of right then and there. Like it was hard for me to just wait it out, or feel like it's okay. What are we doing here? You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's kind of it for hobbies right now. I think once I finish work and kind of the physical therapy maybe levels out, yeah, yeah,
So what
we'll
happens
see.
when you
We'll see.
get your PhD? So like at that point, do you get a new job or do you like just like get into a different position at your work, or things just get easier? What's the deal there?
I think, yeah, I'm gonna soon here. I'm gonna start looking around for a job, and because the kind of job I want is not exactly super traditional, they're usually not advertised on, like a job website or anything like that. It's not like a
Right.
specific kind of job. So what most people end up doing is kind of just emailing around all the people they know, and you kind of go like, hey, what companies are hiring for what positions, and you kind of go from there because it's really, yeah, you just never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone, all my friends and stuff who've graduated for the most parts. Yeah, it's never like, oh, saw this specific job on this website and I applied for it. It was kind of like, oh, I know this person and now I'm, you know, the research engineer at this job, but
Yeah.
it's yeah, it's not like an exact pipeline
You think
from
it's going to cause you to relocate?
I no, because not right now because I don't want to. The job would have to be really good. Um, there's maybe like there's a
So
few
you feel
places I
like
would
there's enough market where you live to find the
yeah,
type of job that you want somewhere there?
yeah. So I would say even I interned. I guess you could call it intern, but I worked at a company, a medical device company that builds brain imaging machines here in Coquitlam. Um, and so that's like exactly what I do,
Right.
and they're
Right.
here. And then there's a lot of companies in the biomedical area here, or even electrical engineering, um, that yeah, I'd be happy working for. And so ideally, I'd like to not locate. I don't think I have to. And two, again, the job would have to be pretty good because I really like Vancouver, and so it'd have to be for like a lot of money or like a very very cool job.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
things that come to mind are like I know people who are on like the hardware team for the Apple Watch, and if somehow that like came along, I would be like, okay, that's pretty cool. I would definitely consider
Yeah. Yeah.
that.
Right.
Um, or like some of the companies at the forefront of my area, um, uh, if
Right
they,
on.
yeah, if somehow that they like an offer rolled around, I'd
Yeah.
be like, okay, that's
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
cool. But yeah, but in general, the U.S. pays better, but say for me to move, my girlfriend has a pretty good job, so the salary would have to be quite significant,
Yeah.
and it had to be a city we kind of also enjoy. So there's a lot of like moving parts
Yeah.
of like that all add up together, where it'd be like, okay, I would need like an insane salary for this to make sense.
Yeah. And some of those places where those like really fun jobs are, the cost of living is so high that even though the salary may sound insane, it's like the way it pencils out is not really the greatest. So
The one upside, I guess, you might put it, is Vancouver is one of the least affordable cities in the world. It's like right behind like Tokyo.
oh, nice.
So yeah, pretty cool. Uh, our yeah, like our house, I think our housing is a little cheaper than say your San Francisco, but we don't have the jobs to support it like at that level.
Hmm.
So we have like San Francisco prices and like middle
Not San
Minnesota.
Francisco wages. Yeah.
No, we have like Minneapolis wages, and
Yeah.
uh yeah, so the upside to living here is if we do ever move anywhere, it's like the cost of living is basically better everywhere else until we move to Tokyo or something.
Right.
We've
Right.
got like
So
two more
Japan's
places
out
that
of the
are worse.
question.
Yeah, two more places that are worse,
That's
and
hilarious.
so yeah, so there's that. But yeah, no, like I said, I really like Vancouver, and again, to leave all the friends we have now and things like that would be tricky, and the riding as well. Like the riding in the sea to sky is pretty good, so it would be
Yeah.
hard to go anywhere else for that kind of thing. And again, I ride so much now; it's such a big part of what I do. that, yeah, it would be
Yeah.
weird to leave, and it would have to be a really
My
big,
wife and
something
I were
really big.
my wife and I were talking about relocating at one point, and that really was the deciding factor for me, was like, what's the writing like where we're talking about? And if that's not, then I don't even care. Like it's not an option. So at least at
Yeah,
this point in my life.
yeah, it's I think that too. Like, yeah, if I was going to move somewhere just to, for everything except biking, bigger house or you know whatever it might be, I think I would just move home. Be closer to family,
Yeah.
um, and there's pretty good jobs that I could get, and we could afford a much bigger place and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, yeah. Right now, I mean, you never know though. Like again, you never. I've been really bad at predicting, what's going to happen in 5 years. Like basically in every 5 year increment, there's just no way I would have predicted like, oh, that's what will happen. So
Yeah.
uh, yeah, no, I do think I am the type of person too, maybe that's a bit more open to like trying something new or crazier. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I do feel like it's not off the table that like, yeah, 5 years from now, when I'm in Colorado or something, and you're like, oh, remember when you said you were going to move?
Right.
It's like, oh yeah, well, here we are.
Yeah.
And
Right
yeah,
on,
because
man.
there is yeah, you never know.
Yeah. No, I hear you there. It's definitely predicting the future isn't easy, right? Nonetheless, dude, we're wrapping that 2 hour mark right now, or rounding that 2 hour mark right now. So I just wanted to tell you, I really appreciate chatting with you. It's been a lot of fun. It's been way too long since the last time you were on. So we'll
Yeah.
definitely have to get together again before what is it at this point? I think you were like, well, I can't remember what the episode number was. It was like in the 50s or 60s, I think, the last episode that you were on. So at this point we're at 223. It's like 150-ish. I don't know. A
Yeah.
lot of episodes ago. So thank you so much, dude, for joining me today. I like to ask people before they leave what YouTube channels they're enjoying right now, whether it has to do with biking or not. So what are you watching right now?
I feel like I gotta look. Yeah, there's definitely um, a couple. Let me go to my non, but I feel like I kind of like don't what is don't pay attention to their channel names all the time because I was looking at some newer stuff. How do I switch accounts here? But yeah, I want to say most of the stuff I watch outside of riding right now. Um, I mean, for a while it was camera stuff, like when I was hurt. Um,
Mhm.
I was just watching like anyone who would make videos about cameras, like mirrorless cameras and stuff like that, like photography.
Mhm.
Um,
Who are your creators that you like watching there?
so the only one I can remember right now because I watched so many of his videos was Jared Polin, kind of the big Afro guy.
Oh, okay.
He puts out so much content and so many like
Yeah.
gear reviews that yeah, his is
I
on the
like
like
Peter
gear
McKinnon
stuff.
a lot.
Oh yeah, Peter, yeah. Um, and there's a lot of smaller channels too who it's funny, yeah, they do kind of like the similar thing that we do, but for photography, and that like they go out and like vlog their photography session in the same way
Oh,
we
interesting.
and I was like, yeah, I was into that because when I was hurt, I was just kind of walking around and taking pictures, and I was like, oh, okay, that's what I do now. So, but
Right.
yeah, stuff like that, and then there's some like science stuff, maybe like Veritasium and uh, and Three Blue One Brown is a math channel that I like to watch. Um, and
What's
then when I go
interesting about
through,
that channel?
uh, he is so good at giving you an intuitive understanding of even like pretty complicated math. Like
Uh-huh.
even stuff that I've done in say third or fourth year. It's like, yeah, I've done this math and I've used it and I do use it. and then he kind of starts to explain it. He's like, okay, like, but why does it work, or like, what are you even doing, or what does this mean? Because it gets kind of abstract.
Uh-huh.
Um,
And that's called 3 Blue, 1 Brown.
Yeah,
That
he's
sounds interesting. I'll have to check them out.
yeah, and he breaks it down into like he's he's got lots of stuff from like pretty high level math, I would say, especially in general, to like introductory stuff, and he's very good at giving you. What did he say? He says, yeah, when he's making this video, he wants you to feel like if you were kind of in that position of that mathematician or scientist or whoever, you, as you're watching the video, you feel like, oh, I could have discovered that thing. Like I get the line of logic of like why they're doing that thing now. And he's very good at doing that. And so I always really liked watching it because there's a lot of science and math intuition that I've learned from him. And yeah, it's a super popular channel. He's got, what is it, 7 million subscribers now? And like, it's funny to see his channel.
It's funny to see his channel what?
Just like, again, I'm just looking at like random math videos here. It'll be like, he'll talk about like an AI algorithm and you'll see it has like 1 million+ views. And it's just funny to see like.
You're like, how is this possible? Right?
Yeah, like it's just math chatting, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting that there's that big of an audience for something like that. You wouldn't think, right?
And yeah, every video, it's like every video has like 1 million+ views. And yeah.
It's that damn story. He's got the story down, man.
He does. He's a good storyteller, yeah.
Right on, dude. Yeah. Hey, man, it was super fun hanging out. Anybody that's listened to this and for some reason you haven't checked out VanCan's channel, go ahead and hit the link down there in the show description, whether it's on your podcast app or here on YouTube. Appreciate you guys all hanging out with me as well as Nick. And remember one thing, it only takes a bike to be a biker. Get out and be one.
Thanks, Robert.